right, folks, we have a bunch of stories to bring to you today for the Nintendo Switch 2 and just Nintendo in general, with the first story actually being a bit of a fun one where Nintendo's repair service in Japan apparently goes above and beyond for their customers when they have their claims and they're trying to get their consoles fixed. That's actually really good news. Kind of a, hey, they're going places that people aren't expecting, covering things that they say they don't cover, and that, to me, is amazing. Beyond all of that, we have some updated sales data out of Japan from the Famitsu stuff. We have stuff coming for new game announcements. We have stuff coming leaked out there about a brand new game supposedly coming to Switch 2 next year, and just a whole lot more. I'm really excited for today's news. It is Freaky Friday, everyone. So how's it going? Before we dive in, I want to remind you we are giving away 3 copies of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for Switch 2. You can enter through the link down in the pinned comment or the description. And one more thing, before we dive in, I got to remind you about today's sponsor. So when you're out shopping this holiday season, you might be looking at getting yourself, a friend, a child, whatever, a Nintendo Switch 2. And look, I understand. I own a Switch 2. It's pretty fantastic. But here's the thing. That's not all you should be looking into getting is just the console, even if it's a bundle like with Mario Kart or Pokemon. Because, look, games require storage, and game sizes are getting bigger than ever. That's why this holiday, you guys should definitely consider picking up the Lexar Pro Play Pro 1 terabyte micro SD Express card. That's right, the Switch 2 uses micro SD Express, which is a different standard than the original Nintendo Switch. So no, you can't use your old micro SD cards. You need to get yourself an Express. And this 1 terabyte one is available at places like Costco for an exclusive price at the moment of $179.99. Look, I am using this card in my Nintendo Switch 2 right now, and I couldn't be more thankful to have that full terabyte of storage to go with the 256 internal, because the bottom line is the game library fills up quick, especially because Nintendo Switch 2 is backwards compatible. So your whole digital Switch 1 library can transfer over along with buying Nintendo Switch 2 games. So what are you waiting for? Go check out the link down in the description, the Lexar Play Pro 1 terabyte card. And again, shout out to Lexar for sponsoring this video. All right, let's go ahead and get into our first story here. We got this post coming from Japan. This person on X claims that they sent their Switch 1 for repair due to battery swelling. So basically a battery swap. And I thought the outer part would probably be replaced with a normal one. But it came back perfectly clean, leaving me confused. And the original one had the logo already starting to fade. Thank you, Nintendo. So they basically either gave him a brand new back or custom printed this for him. That is rather impressive, because all they really had to do is replace the battery, and they could send it back with the now bent back, or they could replace it with a standard back. That is not what Nintendo of Japan's repair service chose to do. And we come down here and we're seeing lots of stories like this. You know, Nintendo's repairs are so meticulous. It's hilarious. Logo playback or a new technique. I've heard multiple examples, not just once or twice, of Nintendo Repair returning the device with Mario and Pokemon stickers that the child had stuck on, reattached in their exact original positions. So I think restoring a logo would be a piece of cake. That's kind of a thing. Yo, Nintendo, I got a sure quality plus peace of mind you can feel secure about compared to accident repairs. As expected, Nintendo is truly divine. It's expensive though, but it is worth releasing. It's one of those like, hey, the system's expensive, but they do the repair services right. Nintendo is God. I just need the stock price to rise a bit more. Can you make the logos as many times as you want, as long as the stamp mark is left? So yeah, it's pretty great that Nintendo went above and beyond here. We've heard lots of stories like this. It's just nice to point out some of the positives that come from owning Nintendo products and how their repair services manage things. All right, let's go ahead now and dive into some actual news today. We got some stuff for the Famitsu sales for last week, and what a shocker, Nintendo Switch 2 sales are up again for like the 4th week in a row. As we go over here, we're going to see the #1 selling game this year was a brand new release, Momotaro Dentetsu 2. The Switch 2 version, by the way, is the lead sale getter here with 90,000. The Switch 1 version's actually chiming in the #3 spot, about 40,000 units behind, or 34,000. Yeah, I mean, that's already looking pretty interesting that we're seeing the Switch 2 version pop higher than the Switch version already this early in the system's life cycle. See Mario Kart World chiming in at 63,000, Legends EA for Nintendo Switch at 37,000, and the Switch 2 version at 25,000. We see Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment dropping in number 6 at 17,000, highly likely to cross 100,000 next week. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD Remake on the Switch at 13,000. You see Black Ops 7, it's debuting at number 8. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero for Switch 2 at number 9. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero for Nintendo Switch at number 10. Again, seeing, the Switch 2 version outselling the Switch 1 version. It's starting to become a pattern, but not true of all things. Obviously, we saw Dragon Quest 1 plus 2 HD up here at 13,000 for Switch. We're seeing, obviously, the Switch 2 version down here at only roughly 6,000. So it's not true across the board, but it is starting to become a trend. As we scroll down here, we see the Nintendo Switch 2 actually sold over 100,000 units last week. That's another 10,000 units up from the week prior as the Switch 2 approaches 3 million in sales in Japan. The Switch OLED model sits there at number 2, Switch Lite at number 3, PlayStation 5 at number 4, PlayStation 5 Pro at number 6, Switch was at number 5, PlayStation 5 All Digital at 7, and hey, Xbox Series X Digital Edition is kind of gaining some ground here quietly on the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition. Now, what's really interesting here is that new PlayStation 5 with the new price point has not launched yet in Japan, so very curious to see if that unit happens to do pretty well there. But for right now, Switch 2 is continuing to dominate as we're entering the holiday season, and I suspect sales to stay relative high all the way through the end of December. All right, we got to go ahead and get to our next story, and this is more sales data, but this time coming from Circana for the United States, the month of October. So you come in here and we can see Matt Piscatella. He's up here saying, the video game market highlights thread from Circana, Battlefield 6, mobile content, Switch 2 hardware were among the drivers. So let's go down to the charts that you guys care the most about. So we do have our October top 20 best-selling premium games. Remember, for Nintendo published games, they do not provide digital data to them. So Pokemon Legends EA coming up at number 2, just behind Battlefield 6. And this is going to be physical only sales. I have a feeling if you include digital, it's probably ahead of Battlefield, but because digital is not included, it is at number 2. I see Ghost of Yote at number 3. NBA 2K at number 4, EA Sports FC at number 5, Madden at number 6, The Outer Worlds 2 at number 7, Little Nightmares 3 at number 8, Digimon at 9, and Borderlands 4 dropping from 1 to number 10. You see Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 chiming in on the charts still a little bit as well, actually moving up a spot from last week. So interesting to see that this title might be a little bit evergreen, maybe not so fast out the gate, but maybe long-term sales. We'll have to wait and see. And you see the bottom, the games that basically keep on giving. Helldivers, Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption 2, games that just keep on selling. All right, the year-to-date best-selling premium games. You see Battlefield has already jumped all the way up to number 1. Pretty impressive here on the year-to-date. And again, this includes physical and digital for anything not published by Nintendo. And as you see, Nintendo is not even on the list because, again, their games don't have digital sales, and it's really hard to directly compete on a chart like this year long for digital and physical. So this is where things get exciting, though. Hardware. Video game hardware spending on October grew 36% when compared to a year ago to $351 million. The Switch 2 was again able to offset declines across Switch, which is down 52% year on year, and Xbox Series down 37%, and PlayStation 5 down 22%. The Nintendo Switch 2, and this is what's interesting. He almost never gives exact numbers, but he did for October. Nintendo Switch 2 sold 328,000 units in October. It is 68% ahead of the sales pace set by the original Switch and 3% ahead of the previous record holder for fastest selling system ever in PlayStation 4. So it's still 3% ahead of that. We haven't even got to November and December where it's going to see a big boost in sales and likely further that gap at least for a little while. Is it going to fall behind PlayStation 4 someday? Maybe. Is it going to fall behind the Switch's pace someday? Probably, but we're not at that day right now. October spending on the Asus PC portable hardware devices increased by 4.8x compared to a year ago, now 30% higher year to date. Video game content spending grew by 1% when compared to a year ago. Battlefield 6 debuted as the best-selling game of 2025 year to date. Battlefield 6 is very well received, by the way. EA actually hit a home run believe it or not, EA's been, not necessarily hitting home runs lately. And here we go. They pulled it off of Battlefield 6. So yeah, lots of stuff on Battlefield 6 there. Pokemon Legends EA ranked second overall during October and was the month's best-selling game on Nintendo platforms. It launches 2025's best-selling physical game year to date. That's the big thing there, is physical game year to date. It debuted as the best-selling, but of course, you include digital sales. Obviously, it's not even in the top 20 for the whole year because, again, digital sales make up a huge part of the market. And it's on Nintendo for not providing that data, so we can't really get mad at Circana for not having it. It's just glad that they denote that, hey, it is the number one physical selling game, but, digital outpaces physical in most territories. All right, let's go ahead and get into our next piece of news. And this is just a shout out. If you've been enjoying some of those free updates to Nintendo's games, we now know who we have to thank for that, and that is Panic Button. Panic Button says, we were honored to be selected by Nintendo to help update marquee games from Nintendo Switch's library. Nintendo asked us to help demonstrate new capabilities of the Switch 2 system while remaining faithful to the original games. And they list these 4 games as the ones they specifically worked on: Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario 3D World, and Bowser's Fury, and ARMS. So all the free updates, it was Panic Button who provided them. So shout out to Panic Button. I think they were a great choice, Nintendo. Kudos to you for choosing a quality studio like that that's done great work on your system. Actually, it probably played a huge role in the entire decision making that you had here. You know what also might be making a role in decision making? How about AI? Look, we all know some of our individual opinions and stances on AI and what some company stances are. Well, Ubisoft finally released their financial report despite being delayed. It turns out the delay had nothing to do with being bought out or being, we gotta get off the stock market. Some bad stuff's going on. Actually, numbers are better than they expected. So it's actually positive news for Ubisoft coming off of it. But the big thing is, they had a whole new team managing their finances that were approved back with the board stuff, all the voting back in July. And that board just needed a little bit more time to kind of cross some T's and dot some I's and, get the finances in straight. There's something like $286 million in debt they wanted to pay down before this report because it would improve their margins. So honestly, it was literally just clerical stuff. So there you go. No drama there. But this is going to create drama coming off the financial report. Ubisoft boss believes generative AI is a big revolution for games as the shift to 3D, as tech is embraced company-wide. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot has stated generative AI has been integrated across the entire company, expressing his belief that generative AI is as big of a revolution for video games as the shift from 2D to 3D. Guillemot spent a short but explosive minute near the start of a recent earnings call to speak on generative AI in particular, which appears to be taking a larger role in Ubisoft's works moving forward. Guillemot stated, "We are making great strides in applying generative AI to high-value use cases that bring tangible benefits to our players and teams. It's as big of a revolution for our industry as the shift to 3D, and we have everything to lead on this front." Guillemot continued, "On the player experience side, we are continuing to make progress on groundbreaking player-facing generative AI applications. Building on our Neo MPC announcements in 2024, we have already advanced from prototyping to player reality, and we are looking forward to sharing more before the end of the year." Finally, Guillemot stated that Ubisoft's embrace of AI goes beyond dedicated AI projects, and that AI use has already been integrated into every development team across all of Ubisoft's offices. On the production side, we now have teams in all of our studios and offices embracing this new technology and constantly exploring new use cases in programming, art, and overall game quality. So yeah, they've obviously publicly shown a little bit of stuff. But yeah, look, guys, I'm not here to tell you if this is a bad thing. Generative AI in general is a tool. I think I've talked about this before, that like, one thing we have to remember about AI is these are just tools meant to help us do things more efficiently or better. And I'm not 100% against generative AI. I'm not 100% against AI in general, but I am very curious how they're being used, because one thing I don't want to see is like an entire game just made with an AI prompt where it's like, hey, make a game about this with a deep story and done. And then the whole game is made with generative AI, and then there's just it'll feel like empty, hollow, lacking human emotion. It's just not something I want to see. But, you know, if someone wants to help like make a forest and like have some variety to the trees and AI can maybe help you do that, I'm not necessarily against uses like that. I feel like, you know, without knowing exactly how they're being implemented into the development pipeline, I'm not going to get too upset about it. But I do know it's Ubisoft. People do not trust them. They've treated employees and customers like crap in the past. And on top of that, a lot of people are against generative AI. So they might be embracing it, but being so bold to state it so publicly, it just kind of sucks for them. It's going to create bad PR. I know it, and you know it. Next up, we have one more Ubisoft bit of news. How about Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake? Rumors about this have been swirling for a while. We have some insider gaming posts here saying exclusive Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake is set to launch before March 31st. So the Black Flag Remake is one of the most talked about games within the Ubisoft machine, but until now hasn't been formally acknowledged by the company. However, insider gaming has covered the game extensively over the past 18 months and has now learned it is set to launch before March 31st, 2026. This exclusive news comes as Ubisoft publishes the delayed financial update. And it says, yeah, it's coming very soon. Insider Gaming has learned that the yet announced Assassin's Creed Remake, which, by the way, maybe it's announced at the Game Awards coming up. That is an opportunity for it. The first official sign of the announcement came during today's delayed Ubisoft earnings, where one unannounced game is set to be released before the end of the company's fiscal year, which ends March 31st. It's the only game on the slate not uncovered, and is flanked by the likes of Rainbow Six Mobile, The Division, Resurgence, and Anno 117 Pax Romana. Unannounced title. Yeah, is what it is, right? It's very obviously probably Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag Remake. This is one of the worst kept secrets. Ubisoft has things like this leak outside of their company all the time. So forgive me if I'm just going to go ahead and believe it. I don't think there's any reason to doubt it. Now, the next big game coming from Nintendo is going to be Metroid Prime 4. And while we're, you know, a couple weeks away from having Metroid Prime 4 in our Switch 2s and Nintendo Switches, I think it'd be cool to go look at file sizes here. So Metroid Prime 4 Beyond download sizes. This is from the eShop. For Switch 1, it's 28.939 gigabytes, and for Switch 2, it's 31.623. This is probably due to higher quality textures and stuff like that being in the Switch 2 version, leading to a slight increase in size. So there you go. That makes it, I think, is that the largest like Nintendo internally made game file size wise? I feel like it is. Like, we've had larger ones that Nintendo have published, but they weren't made internally at Nintendo. So I think Metroid Prime 4 might be setting a size record for Nintendo, for better or worse. Next up, we have to talk about game sizes one more time, this time for the Switch 2 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which, hey, we're giving away, so you guys might want to know. This comes literally from the Final Fantasy VII official X account. Correction to Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade storage requirements on Switch 2. The standard edition is 90 gigabytes to 95 gigabytes. Limited early purchase edition and limited early purchase digital deluxe editions are 93.8 to 99 gigabytes. The My Nintendo pages will be updated shortly. Just a nice reminder that if you own a Switch 2 and you plan to participate in third-party games, you're going to want to buy micro SD cards and micro SD Express. And hey, that's why we have the sponsor we do in Lexar with the 1 terabyte Play Pro. Cannot suggest this enough. I've been using this since day one of Switch 2. Before they even sponsored me, I bought myself one. So I just wanted to throw out there that, hey, you know, there's a reason we take on sponsors like this, because, hey, if you want to play third-party games, you're going to need stuff like this. So sure to check that out down in the description. All right, let's go ahead and check out our next story. And this is just a kind of an interesting one. We talked about Kirby Air Rider reviews already, but Kirby Air Rider's reviews have actually gone up. It's now at a 79 when it was at a 78 before. That makes it an 18-point rise over Kirby Air Ride. I just think this is fun to note. It's obviously significantly higher rated than the original release. And if you get rid of that one really bad 40 score, possibly we're looking at an 80. And it might crawl its way up to an 80, which I think is really impressive for the kind of game it is and how misunderstood the controls can be. So yeah, shout out to Masahiro Sakurai making his dream version of Kirby Air Riders, which, by the way, they did announce as well that there's going to be a year, so 1 year of events. So you know how there's like events in Mario Kart, events in Smash. There's going to be events in this game as well, and they're going to be a full year of events. So they already have them mapped out, planned out. You don't have to spend any extra money to participate. All right. Next up, we have our final story that also deals with Kirby Air Riders, and this one's just kind of a funny one. No, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised at what Nintendo's doing here. Some people might call Nintendo the no fun company when you see stories like this, but I think it's obvious why they're doing something about it. Nintendo starts removing player-made Bikini Chef Kirby Air Riders designs as they top the in-game marketplace. If you didn't know, you could custom your own designs and sell them, quote unquote, sell them for in-game currency on a marketplace in Kirby Air Riders. Naturally, people are making inappropriate designs. Here's one of them. One bikini design is currently the most expensive item in the machine marketplace by far. Look at the price on what they're charging for that. Oh my God, with the wire coming off. Oh man. Anyways, the game's Chef Kawasaki character was originally the subject of a meme in Japan, which started in 2020 when a piece of fan art showing him in a small bikini started to be shared online. Now, as spotted by automation, players have started creating their own Bikini Chef Kawasaki designs in the My Machines mode in the Kirby Air Riders. My Machines mode lets players collect various stickers and other designs, then apply them to the game machines. The ability to scale, resize, and rotate these assets means that with some ingenuity, it's possible to create a wider range of designs than the selection suggests. Players can then upload their machine designs to the machine marketplace at an online directory where other players can then buy the designs using coins earned in races. There are no microtransactions, so you can't spend money for these coins. Each time a design sells, its price goes up slightly, meaning the more popular designs become increasingly more expensive. As soon as the game was released, one player uploaded a design, which takes the game's standard star-shaped warp machine and turns it into Chef Kawasaki wearing a micro bikini. The user was Sotaki397 noted the design's price had started rising quickly, writing the micro bikini Kawasaki machine pattern in Air Riders market. Everyone thinks it gets pulled so soon, so the price is climbing fast. Pretty funny, pretty steep for the first morning, huh? And then deleted. I'll never forgive Nintendo, right? Get so bad because they deleted the design. Here's another design as well. Like, oh my gosh, it's so funny. I don't think anyone is like surprised at Nintendo removing it. You could argue it's no fun Nintendo. I think there's really no harm here, but I get that they're like a family-friendly company and they don't think this is very family-friendly. I don't know. If you live in like a tropical place or like California or Florida, dude, just go walk anywhere near the beaches and you're going to see stuff like this all the time, including children seeing it. So I'm not so sure that it needed to be censored to that degree, but it's whatever. No one, I think, is really surprised that Nintendo does not want this association. It is kind of funny that the deeper down we go, we see the marketplace here with another version of it. This one not quite as risque. So we'll see if Nintendo, because this one covers a bit more, what if Nintendo will leave it alone? Yeah, it is funny. I think the whole thing is hilarious. I don't think anyone should be surprised, but it is. I don't know. I guess people, want to call Nintendo the no fun club. I guess I understand. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Nathaniel Rovajans from Nintendo Prime. It's been a hell of a video. Really excited about all the things to come. Hope you're excited as well. We got our live stream tonight. Hope to see you guys there. Otherwise, peace out, everyone. Catch you in the next video.